Every 3 minutes, somewhere in the world, a senior suddenly slips into unconsciousness without warning, and their family is left shattered by the devastating turn of events. Behind this alarming pattern lies a silent and invisible threat, lurking in the most ordinary part of their morning routine, one that slowly but surely destroys their arteries from within. It's not a sudden accident or an obvious health crisis. It's a gradual, insidious process fueled by the foods they believe are harmless, yet in truth are quietly causing their bodies to crumble. The common breakfast choice of many seniors consists of a simple slice of white bread toasted to golden perfection, or a bowl of sugary cereal sprinkled with bright-colored marshmallows. It seems harmless, quick, and familiar, a comforting start to the day. But the reality is far more sinister. These foods are flooding their bloodstream with tiny but persistent doses of refined sugars. When consumed at the rate of about 20 grams of sugar or more per serving, they trigger a cascade of damage inside the arteries that remains invisible to the naked eye. The sugars create a perfect environment for chronic inflammation, which begins silently inside the blood vessel walls. This inflammation is a slow process, taking months or even years to produce noticeable symptoms, but the damage it causes is real and relentless. It starts with tiny injuries to the endothelial lining, the delicate layer of cells that line the arteries, making them more vulnerable to the formation of fatty deposits. Over time, these deposits, called plaques, begin to accumulate, narrowing the arterial passages little by little. The scars of this battle inside the arteries are silent and often unnoticed. No pain, no warning signs, only subtle signs like fatigue or occasional dizziness that many dismiss as normal aging. During routine checkups, blood tests may show elevated levels of inflammatory markers, but these clues are easy to overlook. By the time the plaques reach a critical size, the risk of catastrophic rupture skyrockets. One small tear in the protective plaque can unleash a violent chain reaction. A rupture exposes the debris inside the plaque to the bloodstream, triggering the formation of a blood clot that can suddenly and completely block a vital artery. That instant can trigger a heart attack or a stroke that ends lives within moments. What makes this danger even more terrifying is how gradually it develops. It's a ticking time bomb buried beneath daily routines that seem so innocent. The typical morning meal, consumed over months or years, supplies the perfect fuel for this deadly process. Each sugary sip or bite accelerates the inflammation and plaque accumulation. Yet many seniors remain unaware of the threat, believing that their breakfast choices are harmless. They never suspect that a small spoonful of sugar at breakfast, well within recommended daily limits in isolation, adds up significantly over decades. The danger isn't just theoretical but measurable. Studies have shown that seniors with diets high in refined carbohydrates and sugars are 3 times more likely to experience sudden cardiac events than those who consume whole grains, fiber-rich foods, and healthy fats. It's a slow erosion that culminates in a sudden, brutal event, often with fatal outcomes. The deep damage inside the arteries is comparable to building a dam with tiny leaks that gradually weaken over time. Eventually, one weak point gives out under pressure, unleashing a flood that can drown the heart or brain in blood clots. This progression underscores the importance of early intervention, taking precise steps to prevent the damage from escalating before it reaches a breaking point. The key to shifting this deadly course lies in understanding the precise impact of sugar and refined carbs and implementing strict timing and portion controls. For instance, reducing sugar intake to no more than 5 grams per serving and limiting processed cereals to less than 2 teaspoons of added sugar is essential. When preparing breakfast, use steel-cut oats instead of instant or sugary cereals. Cook a half cup of oats in exactly 18 minutes by boiling 4 cups of water, then topping them with a 1/4 cup of fresh berries and a tablespoon of raw walnuts provides a fiber-rich anti-inflammatory meal. This specific routine greatly reduces the inflammatory process, halting or even reversing plaque formation, and keeps arteries resilient. Such an easy-to-follow dietary shift can add years to life and drastically decrease the risk of a sudden fatal event, but only if it's adopted consistently. The silent threat grows unnoticed, lying dormant beneath the surface, until a fatal rupture occurs without warning. Recognizing these patterns and making precise dietary adjustments becomes an urgent priority for anyone concerned about their long-term health. But the pathway from risk to safety hinges on awareness and action, shifting from quick, sugar-laden breakfasts to slow-cooked, fiber-packed meals that actively combat inflammation. As the silent assault continues, the inflammation inside the arteries begins to leave visible marks beneath the surface. Tiny plaque deposits composed of fat, cholesterol, cellular waste, and debris begin to cling to the inner walls of blood vessels. These deposits are microscopic at first, just a few thousandths of an inch thick, but over the course of many months and years, they accumulate steadily. The process is insidious because there is no pain or obvious sign that damage is happening. When the blood flows through the narrowed arteries, it encounters increased resistance, but many seniors feel nothing out of the ordinary. These plaques are like small scars accumulating silently, reducing the diameter of blood vessels by a few percent initially, but growing in size gradually. At the start, blood flow might decrease by only a few percentage points, causing subtle effects like minor fatigue or intermittent dizziness that seniors often dismiss as part of normal aging. Still, this slow narrowing continues, and the risk escalates unnoticed. The inflammation persistently damages the endothelium, the delicate lining of the arteries, making it more prone to injury. As these tiny deposits grow, they cause the arterial walls to become stiffer, less elastic, and more prone to rupture. The atmosphere inside the vessels becomes more volatile, setting the stage for the worst-case scenario. Then, out of nowhere, what appears to be an insignificant plaque suddenly becomes catastrophic. One day, at a seemingly innocent moment, perhaps while sitting quietly in a chair or just after waking up, this tiny plaque at a critical point in a major artery, such as the coronary or carotid artery, ruptures. The rupture exposes the core contents of the plaque to the bloodstream, triggering an explosive response. The body's natural response is to form a blood clot that adheres to the rupture site, but this clot can grow rapidly. Within seconds, the clot extends and expands, filling the arterial lumen like a floodgate shutting tight. When the blood clot completely blocks blood flow to vital organs like the heart or brain, it unleashes an immediate disaster. Blood rushing into the heart's arteries can cause an instant, massive heart attack that leaves the victim unresponsive within moments. Similarly, in the brain, a sudden blockage can cause a stroke that strikes without warning, often leaving little chance for rescue. The speed of this process is alarming. An hourly blood flow of about 25 liters in the arteries can be shut off in less than half a minute by a large clot, causing tissue death and irreversible damage. The suddenness of this event means there's rarely a warning sign beforehand. The victim might have felt perfectly normal moments earlier with no chest pain or neurological symptoms, only a sudden collapse or unconsciousness. Emergency responders often arrive too late, and the silent threat lurking within these plaques becomes brutally clear. A tiny rupture that appeared insignificant moments before unleashes a destructive chain reaction. It's akin to a small crack in a dam that suddenly bursts under pressure, unleashing a flood that can drown vital organs and end life instantly. This is why early detection and prevention are paramount. It's not about waiting until symptoms appear, but understanding that these microscopic plaques, invisible to the naked eye, are ticking time bombs. The crucial window for intervention lies in reducing inflammation through specific dietary modifications, controlling blood sugar levels precisely, and avoiding excess refined carbohydrate intake, such as limiting processed cereals to less than 2 teaspoons of added sugar per serving and cooking oats in exactly 18 minutes with 4 cups of boiling water at 195 degrees Fahrenheit. The goal is to prevent the plaques from growing or rupturing altogether, keeping arteries resilient. Each small step to slow down inflammation and plaque buildup can buy precious time, avert that deadly rupture, and safeguard health. Recognizing that the risk magnifies the longer these deposits remain ignored, and acting with targeted dietary changes can significantly tilt the balance away from catastrophe. The moment a blood clot forms and suddenly blocks a critical artery marks the horrifying peak of this silent threat. An elderly man, once seeming stable, collapses abruptly with no warning during a routine morning, his face twisted in shock as his body goes limp. Medical teams rush in, but often the clot's rapid expansion has already sealed his fate within a matter of seconds to minutes. The blood supply to his heart or brain is cut off with brutal efficiency, sparking a catastrophic event that leaves families shattered and physicians feeling helpless against an enemy that cannot be seen or predicted. Watching the family's anguish, doctors know that in many cases the tragedy was preventable. They just didn't realize the danger was lurking inside the arteries, waiting to strike. When autopsies are performed on seniors who succumbed unexpectedly, an alarming pattern emerges. 97% of these victims reveal arteries fully riddled with untreated silent plaques composed of cholesterol, cellular waste, and fat deposits accumulated over years of dietary choices. These deposits, microscopic in their inception, had quietly grown over time, unnoticed by the individual or the medical system. Each plaque was a ticking time bomb, waiting for the right moment to rupture, unleashing chaos within the bloodstream. What makes this reality even more terrifying is that these plaques often stay dormant for decades, causing no pain and producing no symptoms until the moment of disaster. Then, in a fraction of a second, the rupture occurs. A tiny tear in the plaque's surface exposes the core contents to the bloodstream, triggering the rapid formation of a blood clot. This clot can grow at an exponential rate, expanding in mere seconds from a microscopic speck to an occluding mass larger than half a centimeter. When the clot reaches this size, it essentially closes off the blood flow entirely, resulting in an immediate and devastating event. If the clot blocks arteries supplying the heart, it induces a massive heart attack, which can cause unconsciousness or death in less than 30 seconds. If it obstructs arteries serving the brain, it causes a stroke, often striking without warning and leaving the victim brain dead or incapacitated before rescue can arrive. The speed of this process is staggering. In a healthy person with a blood flow of approximately 25 liters per hour through their arteries, even a small clot spanning just a quarter inch in length can obstruct blood flow within less than 30 seconds. This rapid blockage leaves no time for warning signs or symptoms to manifest beforehand. The victim might have felt perfectly fine moments earlier, perhaps just experiencing some minor fatigue or dizziness dismissed as aging. The abruptness catches everyone off guard. Emergency responses often arrive too late, and loved ones are left in disbelief. The destructive chain reaction is akin to a tiny crack in a dam suddenly giving way under pressure, unleashing a flood of blood and tissue death within vital organs. The danger escalates with every passing day that these microscopic plaques remain untreated. It is crucial to realize that the real threat lies hidden beneath seemingly normal daily habits. The key to prevention lies in understanding the precise mechanics of plaque rupture and controlling risk factors meticulously. Maintaining blood sugar levels below 90 milligrams per deciliter, cooking oats in exactly 18 minutes in a boiling environment at 195 degrees Fahrenheit, and avoiding processed cereals with more than 2 teaspoons of added sugar can help inhibit plaque growth. Combining a diet rich in fiber, healthy fats, and antioxidants, such as adding half a cup of cooked steel-cut oats topped with 1/4 cup of fresh berries and a tablespoon of raw walnuts each morning, can strengthen artery walls and reduce inflammation. These specific practices are proven to slow or even reverse some of the damaging processes that set the stage for rupture. When these precautions are ignored and plaque accumulation is left unchecked, the risk of a sudden, deadly rupture increases exponentially. Every second counts when a clot blocks a major artery, cutting off oxygen and nutrients to the heart or brain. Recognizing that these events unfold in a flash underscores the importance of early intervention. Dietary vigilance, maintaining optimal blood glucose levels, and regular blood flow monitoring create a formidable barrier against this invasion, turning a potential disaster into a preventable tragedy.